Hello and welcome back to Live and Let Live. I am joined here by Prim once again, and you'll notice that is not a table she's sitting on behind me. That is my new bookshelf bench. It is now officially done being built, and where it is placed is where it's going to stay. I just need to get cushions and stain it, and then load my books up on it. So that is a dream come true, and she's somehow sitting perfectly in frame. I think that she's just made for this or something. It's also perfect that she is right behind me right now because it is her adoption day. I adopted her 1 year ago today, and I found her at a humane society in this house that was just full of cats, and she wanted to be held like a baby. She wanted her belly rubbed. She was super sweet and gentle, and I just thought she is the one. Like, she chose me, and she has been literally perfect. If I sound a little different today, it is because I'm battling a an upper respiratory infection, which I have never had before. I've never had a sinus infection or upper respiratory infection. All I know is that I have been struggling to breathe for 4 days, and major congestion, sinus drainage, overall body aches. Like, I have not felt good at all. And it's crazy because I had this week off work to go with my boyfriend to an Airbnb with a few of his family members and friends. They were going to go ice fishing and I was going to relax, but it turned into me just being extremely sick. The ice wasn't thick enough for them to fish, so me and my boyfriend and his friend just ended up going and exploring the area. We bowled, we roller skated, we played at 2 different arcades, and then we ended the night at the bowling alley's bar, which honestly it was all just like very reminiscent of like what I do for fun as a kid. So it was a lot of fun, and my boyfriend is better at roller skating than me, but I did beat them both in bowling twice. We just had a really wholesome and fun day yesterday, despite me fighting whatever is happening. I finally caved and scheduled like a virtual doctor's visit just to get some type of stronger medication for this. And they gave me a prescription grade decongestant, and I swear I already feel it working. Like, I wish I would have had it days ago because sleeping has been a nightmare. I'm waking up choking on mucus in the back of my throat and constantly clearing my throat. My mouth so dry that I can barely move it. Like, it's just not been good at all. And I'm exhausted and I have to go back to work tomorrow. So it's like the entire time I've had a break. I did have some fun, thank goodness. But the entire time I've been fighting whatever is going on. And I've heard that there's like a theory that as soon as your body knows like you have time to rest, that's when it starts to fight something. And I don't know how true that is or like how scientific it is, but it definitely happened to me. So, right back before I get into the swing of things of a new semester and going back to work, I am fighting this freaking illness. Anyway, I'm getting off track from my year in review. So, trip to Mackinac Island, amazing. 3 semesters of school. I don't know. I'm sure there's other significant things of 2025, but I will just say overall, it was a very peaceful, very fruitful year of just learning and growing and settling in my home, and life it just keeps getting richer. I also, of course, got my sweet little kitty on January 3rd last year, so I had a full year of my kitty. I'm very grateful. I'm in a very good headspace, and I think that I know exactly where I want to improve things. I know exactly where I want to be in this moment of my life to propel myself forward, and I'm very content with the journey right now. I'm having a lot of fun, and my New Year's resolutions, which I don't know if people still do those. I know they're considered like not very popular anymore because nobody ever sticks to them, but it's still a good thing to think about, I feel like. So I think my New Year's resolutions are to start working out, whether that's going to the gym or doing something at home, but just doing something where I dedicate a certain amount of time to my physical well-being mostly every day. I want to do really well on these next 2 semesters of school because I'm not doing summer classes this year. So I only have 2 semesters to complete this year and then 1 more next year, and I'm graduated. So I want to really work on not only doing well in my classes, but gathering up some extracurriculars and rounding out my resume. So I'm looking into more volunteering. I'm starting out on the school paper. So hopefully I develop some skills there, maybe take an internship in the summer and make some connections, learn some things, get some real world experience. So I could take that with me and put that on my resume and hopefully find my spot I want to be in after graduation. Just really want to focus on setting myself up before the opportunities are gone when I'm out of college. And I'm kind of just dropped in the middle of nowhere and got to figure it out on my own. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to put my time and efforts this year is into physical health and career building. I would really love to know what everyone else's are. What are your focuses this year? What are you doing differently? What are you doing the same that worked for you this year? I'm open to any advice anyone would like to give, especially people who maybe finished college recently. Just let me know anything, honestly. I love to hear feedback and connect with people. So, yeah, let's go into my songs of the week, which we can say songs of the 2 weeks because there's been a couple. Okay, it is time for Prim's dinner. So she is not going to leave me alone until I go feed her. So I will be back. Okay, we're back and the light is now on because the sun is setting. So my songs of the week. Let's get to that. Okay, songs I have been into lately. I want to say Opalite by Taylor Swift because that played at the roller rink yesterday and it was such a good vibe. And I was like, I love this. It feels nostalgic even though it just came out, and it was such a good vibe to skate to. I'm also going to say Blue by Billie Eilish because of that one Harry Potter edit on TikTok of Harry Potter and Draco. I just think that there's verses in Blue, the ones that they made that edit to. You should look it up because it is the edit. It's literally written for Draco. It couldn't be more of a perfect fit for Draco Malfoy, and I'm obsessed with it. I watch it once a week. I think of it all the time. So I've been listening to Blue. And then third, Where Your Warmth Begins by Sienna Rose. It is a beautiful song and it makes me think of a first dance at a wedding, and I feel like it's so true when you find the person that makes you feel safe and makes you feel like you can let your guard down and begin to heal. It is a beautiful song, and the way that it's sung, I am obsessed with it. I've listened to it probably 30 times in the past couple of weeks. So, Where Your Warmth Begins by Sienna Rose is my number 3. My media review of the week, let's get into it. Stranger Things. I just finished it last night with my boyfriend. I loved it. I don't know. I enjoyed all of it, and if I hadn't seen anything online, I would have assumed everybody else loved it too, because I never thought it was that deep, and everybody seems to have a problem with everything these days. I don't love the negativity around Will right now. I think it's kind of gross and kind of telling of the kind of person you are if that bothers you, but I thought it made sense. I thought, you know what? Episode 7 especially, there were a lot of conversations that needed to be had to tie up the series forever. If it was all action, then all of these characters that we've come to know and learned so much about and knew that there were problems that needed addressed, like Nancy and Jonathan, if we didn't get that closure, the series would be done and it'd be like, what was all that build up for then? Like, it makes sense to me that it was going to happen. Like, I just figured it was. So I don't understand. But I feel like the internet is just a place where everybody hates everything. So maybe I shouldn't look too much into that. But I loved it. It's a lot better than most of the shows that I watch. A lot of the shows I watch are. Nobody puts that much thought into shows anymore, I will say. Not to say I loved the Game of Thrones ending because I don't think it really made sense and I felt like that was rushed. I think this was a decent ending. I think everything happened how it should have happened, or it logically made sense for it to happen. I feel like it was kind of, in a way, predictable, but not in an annoying way predictable. But I think, like Game of Thrones, I understand the outrage on that one because I felt that too. But Game of Thrones was a great, well thought out show. Most of it was fantastic. I've rewatched it and it holds up. It's so good. And we just aren't getting shows like that anymore. So for Stranger Things to actually be this thing that, like, I felt connected to and actually had a really good plot, relatable characters that I really liked. Robin is my favorite, by the way. I love Robin. Robin's dynamic with Steve and Dustin's dynamic with Steve, I feel like was the cherry on the cake of the show for me. So, yeah. I think that I want more shows like Stranger Things. I don't need any more. We don't need any more shows like Emily in Paris or The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, I'm just tired of watching shows that everyone's obsessed with, and they are the most juvenile scripts ever. So I think that this one actually was one of those refreshing ones that you can really get into and create theories about and be in the world of it and feel this like unique pull to. It wasn't a copy and paste show of anything else. Like, I loved it. And I'm sad it's over. I really am. But I'm so glad they came back and rounded everything out and finished it off because they could have easily just abandoned the project. But, it's not often that shows take this long of gaps between and still come back and finish everything. I'm really happy with it. That's all I have to say on it, really. Yeah, if you need a safe place to say that you loved the Stranger Things ending, you can do it here. Because I'm pretty content with everything most of the time, unless it's completely outrageous like the end of Game of Thrones. Because in Game of Thrones, Bran wasn't even supposed to be the Lord of the North or whatever. He wasn't even supposed to do that because being the three-eyed raven meant that he wasn't supposed to have any titles. But then he takes like the biggest title of all that everyone's fighting over the entire show. It just seems a little bit weird. I know I didn't say too much this episode, but we're easing back into things. I'm trying to give myself a little bit of time and space to relax before this semester begins because I know it's going to be busy. But the final thing I'm manifesting for this year is to be on a consistent schedule with posting for this. I'm just hoping to grow my skills a little bit here because, especially with like social media part of this, I'm not very good at. So we are just, you know what? This is what I will say is my practice. I'm putting in my 10,000 hours with this, and I'm not expecting myself to be perfect at this. So again, if you have any suggestions or advice, let me know because, I took a podcasting class last semester and I learned so much. But the thing that you have to do with experience is figure out what does and does not work for you. So I'm figuring out what I want. I'm figuring out what people like. And I'm just trying to create a little video diary of my life. I hope I look back on this someday and look back on it fondly and remember where I started. But I'm working on not putting pressure on myself to let myself psych myself out because I'm not perfect at it yet. So we are just here to practice and grow and give myself room for feedback. And I think that is something that I would not have done a few years ago. That's somewhere I've really grown recently, to let myself be bad at something before I can be great at something. I think tonight I'm going to go hang out with my nieces and nephews because I miss them. and I'm feeling a little bit better for my medicine, and I'm ready to see my family, have some fun. I don't know. Do something relaxing. So, yeah, I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's. Please tell me your crazy New Year's stories. I didn't get crazy on New Year's. I just had a chill little time, but I do love a story. Any final thoughts? Let's see. I had a story I wanted to tell on this, but I'm not sure I remember it right now. My brain's a little foggy. I've taken a lot of cold medicine. A lot of cold medicine this week. Probably not a good amount, but I'm thinking, like, in the moment when I'm dying, I'm like, I'll deal with the consequences later because I need some relief. Like, I was going actually crazy. And now everything's drying up. I feel like a brand new person. I feel like jumping from the rooftops. And I don't know what the story was, but I did just remember another big thing of 2026 is I need to read more. I need to stay off of TikTok because, as you can see, I regurgitate a lot of the negative things that I see online, and that is not what I want to do. I actually started watching more positive TikToks recently, I will say, like farming content from tabs. I love it. I notice when I'm consuming more positive content online, I am talking about more positive things, and I like that. I like when I hear myself say positive things, and when I'm conversating with people, making conversation, I'm just telling them positive information. That's how I want people to associate with me. That's how I want to bond with people. And I do it a lot on this podcast where I sit here and I say how much I love something. I just did it with Stranger Things, and I say, I know everybody has a different opinion because all I see online is negativity. So I'm trying to shut down that. And maybe I'm going to open a book whenever I see, maybe I should start every time I see a negative opinion online that is unnecessary, because it is unnecessary. You don't have to post hate online. That is just, unless someone is like a criminal and there needs to be like awareness spread to catch this criminal, I can't think of really productive purposes, unless it's like a warning, to post negative information online. Nobody needs to hear how much you hate something. How about you find something you love and then you talk about that? Just my little tidbit of advice. So I think every time I see something negative, an unproductive negative opinion, I'm going to put my phone down and open a book. Because I have many, 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 many books that I started this year and I did not finish them, simply because of lack of self-discipline. So I think, when you start doing more movement, you get less anxious because your mind isn't racing, you're focusing on something. Just doing, like baking, really helps with anxiety for me because I can just get up and start moving my body, doing something that's so fun. I'm literally making a sweet treat. I've been making so many snickerdoodles lately. I think the other day I made 70. And it really calmed me down because you're moving your body. You're not thinking about it, you're just doing. So I think that's my new thing. If I see something unproductive online, I'm just going to open a book and start doing something. And I think I'll start to see that like switch in the things that I talk about, because I do want to talk more about things I love, because I love a lot of things. I'm generally pretty easy to please. I am a great audience, again, because I will appreciate things for what they are instead of hate them for what they're not. So, yeah, we're going to check back in 1 week when I record the next episode of this. By January 10th, I need to have finished a book. Because keep in mind, I was an avid reader as a teenager, and I finished the entire Harry Potter series in a couple of months at 11 years old. I read the 5th book, which is like 800 pages, in like 6 days, which I did nothing but read, to be honest, even in class. But still, if I can get those kind of numbers when I'm 11, at 24, I should be able to finish a book in a week. And I've already started most of them, so I have a little bit of a head start. So we're going to check back in. If I have not read a book in a week, then I don't know. I'll delete an app or something. Anyway, I'm so glad we had the chance to talk again. And I will start to see you weekly from now on because I'm getting back on a normal schedule. And next week, my sickness is going to be gone. I'm going to be on a positive wavelength. We're not going to talk about negative comments online. And I have a riddle for you. Okay, This one I thought was pretty funny. Well, not funny, but I thought this one was pretty clever. Okay. If you drop me, I'm sure to crack, but if you smile at me, I'll smile back. What am I? It's awkward because if you're listening audio only, it just sounds like I'm just not even talking, but I'm just giving you a second to think. Okay, I'll say it one more time. If you drop me, I'm sure to crack, but if you smile at me, I'll smile back. What am I? If your first thought was goldfish, same. But no, it is a mirror. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I never know what to say after I say those because I don't get any actual like in-person feedback, but I do really enjoy these conversations with you, aka myself. I hope you had a really freaking great New Year's. I hope you have a great week. I hope if your classes start soon that you love all the classes you're taking, and if you don't, you understand that there's still something to learn from it. So, thank you for listening and take your vitamin C, wash your hands, don't be around anybody who's sick. And if you have to be, double wash your hands. I don't know. Because this is awful. But, okay. I love you guys. Bye.